This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Phil All Caps. Ooh, I'm trying to figure out this new setup. I apologize. Yeah, so things are a little crazy today because we had a bunch of stuff that was going to happen today. Myself, Apollo, and Eru. Unfortunately, Eru's son is dealing with some health stuff. So if you guys could please keep him in your prayers. We really just want to make sure that, Eru and Apollo and his family are taken care of. So we just want to pray for them and keep them in our thoughts. We haven't been able to really do the show in quite a while. So we were kind of looking forward to being able to do it today. But then we also had tons and tons of technical issues. So we weren't able to do the show as a squad at all. So we unfortunately were not able to have all three of us here. Then our guy Swan was going to fill in for us as well. And that didn't work out either. So things have been a little bit crazy. Unfortunately, it's not the way that I wanted it to be. And as you can see, I'm still trying to figure out how to do this whole thing because it wasn't supposed to be on this account in the first place. So I'm just now trying to get everything all set up and at least chat with you guys for a few minutes. So I appreciate you guys being here and just hanging out with us. Like I said, please keep our guy Apollo in your prayers so that his family can get better. And his son can get out of the hospital and just be good. So I'm not going to be long since it's just me, but we haven't been able to do the show in quite some time. Shout out to my guy, Nostalgic Nick. Appreciate you being in the chat. HRM, great. Appreciate you being here as well. But, I just wanted to talk real quick a little bit about our Knicks because it's been weeks since we've been able to do the Nightcap, and I miss it. There's a lot of things that I've seen that I question and I'm unsure about, but there's also things that I have seen that I'm excited about. Since Mitch came back, I will say I'm a little bit confused. It seemed like in the first, few games, I saw a lot of promise. Then I saw him kind of take a step back a little bit. Now I'm seeing him play well again. But I don't know what we're going to expect in the playoffs. And that's what my biggest concern is. We played a few games, since the last time we had our show. And against the teams that I really wanted to see us win, such as the Clippers and the Cavs, we didn't. We did not execute to the best of our ability. I feel like yesterday we played 3 solid quarters of basketball, and then in the fourth, it was just atrocious. It was sad to see everything that's going on. When it comes to some of our players, I feel like right now Josh Hart is hit or miss. He can either have a good game and put in a lot of effort, or he can struggle really, really badly. I feel like the only constant that we have right now is OG Anunoby. I feel like he's continuing to rise to the occasion. Mikhail's had some great games as well, but then he's got some struggles as well that we've seen over the last few games. And so I want to know in the chat, like, what you guys think. I see Nostalgic Nick right here says Josh Hart needs to be benched. And, it's a crazy take because he is such a hustle player. But when he's got bad games, they're very bad. And so for me, I've been saying that he should come off the bench for quite some time because I feel like what he does is best off the bench. I feel like when he comes off of the bench, he's a spark of energy, which fuels that second unit. But when he's not doing well in a first unit, I feel like it can really hinder the rest of the team. And also, I want to know what you guys think. Like, what is going to happen when Brunson comes back? You've seen OG kind of take a leap since Brunson's been gone, and you've seen McHale have some of his best games in Brunson's absence as well. So is that something concerning when he comes back? Like, what do we really expect to see from Jalen Brunson and this squad? Like, are we going to still see OG, having some of these great games, or is he going to take a step back? And that's a concern that a lot of people have there, Nostalgic Nick, that JB will come back and play hero ball for the time that he's been gone. And I would hope not. I would hope that he sees, what we've been able to do with him gone, and that he comes back with more of a, pass now, pass first, and then get my bucket when I need to, because he knows that he can. But I feel like that could be a possibility, the icing out. And I don't want to see that, because going into these playoffs, if we don't have everybody clicking on all units, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle really, really bad. Right here, I thought we lost the game in the third when Cleveland attacked the rim 12 for 12 in the paint. Don't happen with Mitch there. And maybe you're right, maybe you're right. But also in that fourth quarter, they started shooting a lot better, and we started shooting pretty horribly. And our effort was really, really lack when it comes to that fourth quarter. So I think Mitch does help a lot in that when it comes to guarding the paint. But is that enough? Is that enough to go 7 games with a team like Cleveland or a team like Boston? That's the big concern. Should start Shamet or Mitch. I think we need to start Mitch. I really don't want to start Shamet. I feel like people see games like the last few that Shamet's had and been like, oh, he's on fire, we need to start him. But we also forget that there was like a huge amount of games right before that where he was subpar, and that's me saying something nice about his game at that time. So I would definitely start Mitch over Shamet. I don't feel like Shamet is starting material, in my opinion. Concerned about 24 points, 48% shooting, 40% threes, most clutch shooting, 7.5 assists. Not me. Wish he played yesterday. I wish he played too, but he didn't, and so that's something that we have to realize, that going into the playoffs, I don't know what happened to my mic. I'm going to try to plug it back in. But going into the playoffs, we have to understand that it might be an issue with Mitchell Robinson and, how many games he's able to play. And that's one of the reasons I don't want to set too much of a precedence on how many games Mitchell Robinson plays as our savior for the playoffs, because there's going to be times where he's going to have to get rest. His body's still not what it needs to be from, the time he's been off. And so if a back-to-back happens in the playoffs, we're going to have the same kind of situations against teams like this. So we have to kind of get used to that and kind of hope for the best when it comes to what we're seeing there. So I agree that Mitch would be a good addition, but I don't know if we need to, fully bank on that and fully rely on his availability as how we progress or don't progress when it comes to the playoffs. I don't know what is going on, y'all. I apologize. There are so many technical difficulties right now, which is why it took me over, 50 minutes to get this whole thing connected and set up. So I apologize to you guys that are watching. How much can Mitch play? 20 minutes, 14 when Cat 14 together. So why start him for 14 minutes together? They can play with Mitch off the bench. They can, but my thing about Mitch coming off the bench is, if Josh is not doing well in the starting lineup, like, we got to alter something. And to me, defensively, Cat is a liability. Like, I'm thankful for Cat and what he can do offensively for us, but he is a liability on the defense. And for me, I'm not trying to wait till we're so far behind that we then have to fully rely on hitting every single three to stay in the game. Like, that's just not something that I want. So I would rather see minutes of Mitch and Cat to, heal that wound of Cat's defense. Like, that's just something that is true. And you look right now, you got like DeLon Wright in the starting lineup, and he plays pretty good defense. But when we sub out, Jalen Brunson again, then you got someone that's not the greatest defender again that we have to, work with. And so to not have him and Cat in the starting lineup, I think is important come playoff time. Shout out to Keith Watkins, greetings from ATL. What's up, bro? I'm actually like an hour and 30 minutes south of ATL right now. I was actually in ATL earlier today doing some photo and video content for Short Barrel Distillery, which was really, really dope. So if you are in the Atlanta area, check out one of my favorite whiskey brands right now. They're called Short Barrel. How does Hart help bench scoring? No matter starting or not, Mitch and Cat can only play 14 together. Listen, man, like I said, I don't want to play catch up. And the better scorers of every team are in a starting lineup and not a bench unit. So for me, I'd rather have him start and stop, the bleeding before, the early minutes of a game, and make sure that, we don't put ourselves in a deficit. That's just my opinion. Obviously, you can see it differently. But like Nostalgic Nick said, like with what Leon Rose and what Thibodeau have riding on this season, I would agree that minutes restriction will be lifted. I think it kind of has to happen. So what do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts, about, these last few games that we have coming up? We got, let's go through the schedule. We got the Hawks on Saturday. Where is that game? Oh, it's in Atlanta. Frick. Yo, maybe I need to find tickets since I'm not far from there. If anyone knows anybody that's got some hookups with the Atlanta Hawks, let me know, because I might go out to that game and hang out. So we got the Hawks game. That's going to be competitive. We got the Suns game. I don't really know if that'll be competitive, if they even care. Then we got the Celtics. Then we got the Pistons again. Then we got the Cavs again. And then we got the Nets. Man, I would hope that we at least take one Cav game this season, and maybe one Boston game. Not sure if they're going to rest any of their players in hopes of, having a stronger squad in the playoffs. But what are your guys' thoughts on these last few games? What do you think our record will be? Do you think that, the Knicks will try to win them, or kind of take it easy and see, what happens in the playoffs, rest up for the playoffs? Let me know. Yeah, Keith, if I go, we definitely need to link up. I'm the biggest Mitch fan, but it's same 14 minutes together if Mitch plays 28 and we can close with both, which is more important. I don't know, man. I guess we'll see. I personally think that Mitch in the starting lineup is needed, but we can agree to disagree on that. Either way, I know that we need Mitch's defense. I know that we need all of our guys to be top notch, because this isn't me being a hater, because I do love this team. I'm a Knick fan through and through, and even when he's doing horrible, I still got love for Josh Hart. But going into the playoffs, everyone needs to be in their best form, because if you look at the season, the teams that we really, really are going to have to compete against, we have not been on their level all year. Not even close. Anyone that thinks that we've been on Boston's level or on Cleveland's level is delusional, like absolutely delusional. And we need everybody to be fully available and at their best. And that includes Mitch. We need Mitch to be available. Like, if we need him to play more minutes, this is what we let him rest this far into the season for, so that when it comes playoff time, we are able to compete. And maybe we don't even compete if he's at 100% with some of these teams. But we need to at least try. We at least need to, see if our team can get there. That's one of the things. So that's just my thought. Like I said, could be wrong, could not be, but it's what we need. When Mikhail goes missing and no Mitch, we aren't on the Cavs level. I agree. Salute to my guy Julian Bloom. Appreciate you being here, bro. It was crazy to even get this show going. Apollo dealing with some family health issues. Eru, after all the technical issues we had, wasn't able to do it. Swan was going to do it. Then his wife let him know that she actually had made dinner plans. So it's just me right now, just talking into a microphone. Some people might want to watch, some people might not. That's fine. I'm just going to chill for a little bit, probably for about another 15 minutes or so, and kind of just talk about what we've been seeing and what we hope to see in the playoffs. If more people want to join, they can. If not, I'm going to rock with the 44 of you that are in the building right now, 41, whatever, and we'll just kick it. Because I haven't been able to be on for a while with things with my family, things with the guys' family. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me anyway. But let's talk about this last game. Okay. So I know it was a back-to-back. Okay. And I know that our guys were tired from that back-to-back, but I don't feel like that's a good enough excuse, especially because we competed for 3/4 of basketball. Even though we had a sloppy third, we competed. And like Nick Yak said, and we played the worn out Phillies team with Grimes as their head guy. And so though it was a back-to-back, it shouldn't have been that big of a deal for us to play. Matter of fact, out of those two games, I would have rather rested Mitch the game before and actually had him in a game that matters to see what would have happened. But my biggest takeaways from this game are OG Anunoby continues to rise, and be the kind of player we need him to be. Yes, he was a -14, but I feel like, when the fourth quarter kicked in, it kind of lowered everybody's stats. But for me, OG's been the most impressive. Was still 23 points that night, 62% from three. Like, that's impressive. And I know it's easy to go 62% for some, here and there when you're shooting, 3 or 4 3-pointers. But he's not. Like, he put up 8 threes and got 5 of them, so that was impressive to me. The 6 rebounds and then the 6 assists on top of that. I feel like OG is coming into himself at the perfect time for us. And shutting up a lot of haters, like a lot of people who were, already putting him in trade talks, were able to see how foolish it was to talk that kind of talk so far. And so I was very thankful for that. Josh Hart's been struggling, you won't see that necessarily in the numbers. It was 19 points, 4 assists. But the 3 turnovers were big. I feel like he questions himself a lot more again. We saw that before, and then we felt like he got out of that. But I feel like he's struggling with that a little more. And so that, I think, is a huge concern, is going into the playoffs, allowing him to struggle like that. Cat just making bad decisions on the defensive end. Once again, scoring wise, he's been good. But when it comes to the defensive end, he's struggling. Then those 7 turnovers, just pointless and thoughtless decisions. And I saw someone ask on Twitter today, I think it was my guy Swan, like, what causes Cat to struggle so much defensively on the pick and roll? And people just had great points. Like, he's not quick enough on his feet. He puts himself in really poor positions to try to then play catch up. He relies too much on his size rather than his actual skill. And that he isn't necessarily the smartest when it comes to, defense. Like, he makes some really low IQ decisions on the defensive end. So I think those are some things that we need to, be careful of come playoff time. Um, I know that, we got our two wings. But when you play teams like Boston and you play teams like the Cavs, and even when you play teams like the Hawks, where everybody is a contributor, you can't have him continue to drop the ball. Like it just doesn't make sense why Karl Anthony Towns can have one or two back-to-back games where you're like, yo, he played great defense those games, and then all of a sudden it looks like he has no clue what to do again. It's like, the Monstars where he loses his powers all of a sudden. And yeah, Bucks, those kind of teams, we need him to step up. And I don't know what it's going to take, honestly, because I don't feel like now is going to make the change from what we've seen the rest of the season. I know we talked about it early in the season, like, oh, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And we've seen glimpses of that, but then we've seen one step forward, two steps back. And so games like yesterday, he definitely costs us issues. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned about him grabbing his knee as much as he does. And so I think that's going to be something that we have to keep an eye on as well, because we know that minutes restrictions kind of go out the door, especially for Tibbs in the playoffs. But if Cat is continuing to grab that knee, that's something to definitely pay attention to and see what happens. Josh doesn't guard the three. And that's the thing, is there's some games where I'm like, man, Josh's hustle is there and he is doing, the defense all over the place. And then there's some where he starts to stand around and it doesn't make sense. And this is a huge prayer of mine. I am hoping and praying that Huck Porty is back at least 80% come playoff time. I think that's going to be substantial minutes, for him to relieve Mitch, because I think at all times we need to try and have Cat minutes with another big. I don't think that we can risk having Cat in there as the only five. Like, it's just not a pretty picture. I don't like it. And it's cost us way too many games already this season. And I feel like it's going to continue to cost us more games into the playoffs if we have that situation. So let me look right now. So where it currently stands, we're going against the Bucks, and we've kind of fared well against the Bucks this season. But Giannis is one of those guys that he can just turn into like mighty morphing, Power Ranger form once it comes playoff time. Like, he can boost it in another gear, which is crazy because he's insanely talented and great at what he does all throughout the season. But in the playoffs, like especially back against the wall, Giannis can put it into a whole different gear, which is crazy. He's not a 5. The dinosaur doesn't get it. I know, man. I agree. I don't understand. And here's the thing, though. Tibbs has said, when they were talking about Mitch coming back, they said, we've been playing without our starting center all year. So maybe he does get it in some form. But he's not doing enough about it. My whole thing was, if that was the case, we should have been playing Huck Porty or Sims when we had him alongside Cat the whole time to get a glimpse of what those minutes would have been like with him and Mitch, a lesser version of Mitch, but at least a good defensive, big that can contribute. In Huck Porty, those minutes should have been from the get-go. If it was always planned for Cat to be the 4, then it should have been that way no matter what. I think the problem for me, I don't think that necessarily was the plan. I think when it started to not really work out, Mitch was the scapegoat to say, oh, our big's been gone, the whole season. I could be wrong, but I don't know. For me, if that was always the plan, I would have at least tested, those minutes with Huckporty. I don't think we leave Huckporty alone at center. He will be emergency or play with Cat or Mitch in Precious role when needing size. Yeah, I think it needs to be Huckporty alongside Cat. Definitely, or even Huckporty alongside Precious, just something. But I think Huckporty needs those minutes, especially if Mitch is not 100% still. I got the feeling Mitch and Cat will be paired more often than not come playoff time. I agree. It has to be. It has to be that way. Otherwise, let's have an early, playoff ending, because Cat is going to allow tons of points in the paint, like we saw last night. For those of y'all that are whiskey heads, this right here, this is absolutely delicious. This is called Castle and Key Cast Strength Wheated. Incredible wheated whiskey. Absolutely delicious. Won't break the bank at like $55. But it's delicious. It's so good. So check them out of Kentucky. The old E.H. Taylor distillery, now the Castle and Key distillery. Looking forward to going up there and being able to visit them in the next few months as well. But yeah, let's look at some of these comments. The Knicks are a walking wounded team. Cat knee, Josh knee, OG foot, Brunson ankle, Payne ankle. Not going good into the playoffs. Yeah, it's all I could hope is that the reason we haven't seen some of these guys back is because we already clinched our playoff spot, and we would rather see them closer to 100% than not. I think Mitch is 100%. If needed, we didn't want to show Cleveland Mitch yet. Might make sense. Maybe. I don't know. I heard Queen Steph, Dope Soul, talking the other day about there's some games where Mitch looks like he could be 100%, and some that he looks like he's struggling. And so I personally don't believe he's 100%. The man cave. I don't really believe it, but maybe once we clinch, Tibbs will sit some guys. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Because honestly, like games like last night, if we're going to show that kind of effort, we might as well have had our guys sitting down. Let's be completely honest. Like the effort that we saw in that game, I would have rather just had some of those guys sitting, because the effort was not anything impressive at all. It was actually very disappointing. So that's just my thoughts. Let's see. So another thing I want to talk about. Let's see. It was posted today. Trying to remember by who, that there were actual talks between Durant and the Knicks before the deadline. And apparently that's something that if we kind of fall apart, that's something that we could possibly see talked about again in the offseason. I don't know if that was legit or not. I'm trying to find where that was. I've had a hard time because a lot of posts have been coming up that might have been April Fool's jokes, but I don't really know if that one was. So if anyone else saw that, it was apparently Shams that had reported that Kevin Durant and the Knicks did have talks, and that it's possible that talks again could happen in the offseason. I don't know. Says, I think we kind of ran out of gas in the second half. Back-to-back didn't help. I agree. But once again, like, as good as he's been in these last 5 or 6 games, it was us versus Grimes and a whole bunch of other nobodies. Shout out to Grimes, playing impressive basketball right now. Hats off to him. I always liked Grimes. I was a huge fan. I would have liked to, continue to see him grow with us, but he's doing great out there. So shout out to him. But I don't think that was a big enough back to back to completely blow the fourth quarter last night. I just don't. I think that's an excuse. You show up, you play, and you go for it. There's teams that we've played in a back to back, and they were in the back to back, and we weren't, and they still beat us. So I don't want to use that as an excuse. Wright should be the ninth man over Payne at 6'5". Point guard is different. We don't have. I hated to see us up 15, knowing in my heart that it wasn't going to last. Honestly, bro, it's crazy. My oldest son, Jonah, he's 7. He's like, Dad, looks like we're going to beat this team finally. And I was like, the game's not over till it's over, bud. And he's like, who do you think's going to win? And I was like, I want to say us, but with Cleveland, anything can happen. Like, they can just turn it around and, it'd be a completely different game. And I was right. I hate being right, but it is what it is. Knew that streak was toast. So, yeah, it to me, it is a little bit of disheartening, season to say that every single game versus Cleveland, we lost and lost bad. Every single game against Boston, we lost bad. Every single game against OKC, we lost bad. So let's see off a miracle against Boston and against Cleveland at the end of the season. Once again, not sure if they'll play all their guys, but we'll see. KD 37, it can't be. Cat leaving us, no center. Rather have OG than 37-year-old Bridges. Oh, then 37-year-old Bridges isn't signing to get traded. Yeah, I agree, Nick Yak. I don't see how we make that work because Cat was completely bought in for. I don't know if they would trade him, but I don't think, especially how these last freaking few games have gone, trading OG for, an old Kevin Durant, no. Bridges, no. The defensive loan is worth keeping. So I don't see it happening either, but, I'm just fact checking. Last game, I was hoping to see Tibbs use Josh Hart in high pick and rolls to offset his inability to take and hit threes. Here's the thing. We're now in April and April 3rd, and we didn't see Tibbs do creative things like that all season. I didn't expect him to do those things. Like, why would he start now? Like, he hasn't done those. Like, why would he do that now? I don't see Tibbs coming out with anything out the woodworks. I just don't. And another thing, it came out today from Shams. Okiki just signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, man. Someone that, a lot of people wanted us to bring up from the G League, and we didn't. And now he's going to be with Cleveland, as if Cleveland needs more people that can score and can punish us. It's unfortunate. Shout out to my guy, Kareem Grant. Appreciate you so much being here, bro. Let everybody know earlier, some more people have come and are watching now. So if you guys can, please pray for my guy, Apollo. His son is waiting on news from the doctors. It's been that way for, the past 2 weeks, which is why we didn't, have our show last week, which makes it crazy when we're doing every other week right now. So be praying for him. Be praying that the doctors get good news. If there's anything, pray that the Lord would heal his son, and that they can just go back to enjoying their family and having family time and all that stuff. And then Eru couldn't make it. So I just wanted to kick it with y'all because I haven't been able to do this in a long time. And I miss it. I miss the people in the chat. I miss the community. So we appreciate you guys. But yes, prayers up for Apollo's son. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And shoot Apollo, a message and just let him know that you're praying for him. But Kareem, we were just talking about, what we've seen these last few games, and trying to figure out what we're going to see for the end of the season. I want to see more. I don't think we're going to see it because I feel like, we're going to kind of have to take it easy. The last game was the game to give PJ Tucker 10 to 15 minutes for defense and corner threes. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, you're on a back-to-back. Why are you not using guys more? Like, I just don't understand it. Like, we can't use back-to-backs as an excuse if we're not doing anything to solve the problem. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. When you got a guy like Beauchamp, getting 2 minutes, PJ Tucker on a DNP, like, I just don't understand it. Like, even if these guys don't contribute a ton, it gives the guys that are supposed to contribute at least a few minutes off their feet to then get recharged. I don't understand it. Like, it is, to me, a mind-blowing experience. Like, we just gave PJ Tucker a 2-year deal. To what? To smile and dap up people after the game? Like, use those minutes if you need to. Like, I just don't get it. Like, it really is frustrating. It really is concerning. And I feel like we eventually need to solve the situation. We need to get some of these guys out. Like, if you play 10 guys, 9 guys, and they play substantial minutes and we still get our butts kicked on a back-to-back, use the back-to-back as an excuse. I am okay with that. But if you use the back-to-back as an excuse and you got players, especially experienced players, that are sitting on the bench, like, I understand that Tibbs is Tibbs and he's not going to give guys like Kolek more than 14 minutes. And some of those minutes were dead time, so more like 11 minutes. Even though he should. But if you're going to say that it's because you don't like to play rookies or because guys have to prove it or you're vets or whatever, okay, he's a vet. Put PJ Tucker in for a few minutes. Like, just see what he can do. Like, you watched the pregame show, you saw him just hitting 3 after 3 after 3 in the corner. Why not see if he can hit 2 or 3 of those in 10 to 12 minutes just to get the other guys off the freaking court? Because you're in a back-to-back and you're playing Josh Hart 36 minutes, back-to-back, Mikal Bridges almost 36 minutes. Like, come on. Don't use back-to-back as an excuse if you're not going to do anything to fix it. How does Mikal score only 8 points on 6 shots in 36 minutes with Brunson out? Unacceptable performance by Bridges, a no-show on a big game. I agree. As much as I really, really like Bridges, and when Bridges plays well, Bridges plays really well. But then you get flop games like that, which is really, really hard to watch, and if I was looking and said, yeah, but he had 8, 9 assists, cool, he contributed elsewhere. But then you look and it's only 3 assists, and you're just like, okay, so there wasn't a ton that we got out of him, So yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see that. Kolek last 2 games wasn't good. We'll see right before Kolek in the playoffs. That's fine. But here's the thing. You know who wasn't good? A lot of our guys in the second half. So for me, what I'm saying is, if you're not trying something else and you're playing these guys all these minutes on a back-to-back, then don't use the back-to-back as an excuse. Like, you chose the minutes distribution. Like, that it is what it is. Like, you make your bed, you got to lie in it. So if our guys can't execute in a back-to-back, then we need to figure something else out. Because if we're playing 7 games, there's going to be a lot of exhaustion, that we're going to face. And if we're playing a team like the Bucks and in the first round, like, we're going to be a lot more tired than we were from beating the 76ers. So let's just be honest and call a spade a spade. Tibbs waited too long to play the rookies to develop them right now. Of course, that's the story of Tom Thibodeau's career. The coach has no clue. Keeping him is not sustainable. I agree. Like, listen, Tom Thibodeau has really helped this team change its trajectory. And I'm thankful for that. Like, shout out to Tibbs. Cheers to Tibbs. I poured this. I haven't even had a sip. So I'm going to do the cheers to Tibbs. For those who think I might be a Tibbs hater here, this is for Tibbs. Cheers to everything that you have done to make this New York Knicks team something that can actually compete. Here we go. Delicious. Now, with that said, just because I can cheer Tibbs and what he's done does not mean I want to see Tibbs for another season. Not at all. Like, it's not something I want. It's something I'm hoping that this Knicks organization can wake up and realize that this is not what we need. Like, we do not need another year of Tibbs. Like, we don't. Like, here's the thing. The whole thing with rookies is not for them to be incredible out the gate all the time. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. But it's to think about down the road what they can be. We need someone who's going to see the value in putting the culture and DNA of the team into a player early so that as they get better and as they continue to progress and rise, they want to stay here. They want to have longevity as a Knick. They want to be that next thing because no, Tyler Kolik's not going to be the right now. But what about down the road? Like, don't we want, if anything, if we need a point guard, like Jalen Brunson gets injured or something like that down the road, or eventually the Knicks go a different direction and Jalen Brunson goes elsewhere, whatever. Do we not want to train somebody up now to be that future for the Knicks? I just don't understand. I don't understand why rookies seem to be the expendable piece, for the New York Knicks. I just don't get it. Jalen Brunson got his opportunity when Luka was out. Like a player that put in work, got better, and then had his opportunity to shine, and he took it. But he was playing. He was getting minutes. He was learning. He was getting better. So why not have a player like Kolik start playing now? Start learning. Start learning what can and cannot work so that in 2 or 3 years, he can be that guy that you're like, yo, Kolik's the future. Instead, we let him sit, and then we kind of go, whatever happens, happens. And now you see guys like Grimes, who are getting into their own because they've gotten minutes in the last locations they've been, and now they're getting time to shine. So I don't know. Like, I just don't understand. I think that we need to progress. And let's say JB never goes anywhere. That would be amazing. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. But to be able to have a player that is of high caliber like he was when Luka was out or when Luka needed rest, that's what we need. We need a player like that. And we don't have that right now. So let's look at some of these comments. Prezi, my guy. Cheers, bro. Appreciate you. At least we will be healthy for the playoffs. I hope so. We need McBride back. We need Brunson to be 100%. We just need it. JB ain't going nowhere. But the Hall of Fame and the New York Knicks jersey. I sure hope so, bro. I really do. I really hope Keith Watkins that we can continue to that. But I also hope that as he stays here more and more, he starts to be able to use his I can score whenever I want kind of mentality, but also his way of making it more so team ball would continue to get better. Because if you look at a team like Boston, Tatum can score whenever he wants, but Tatum's going to pass when it's a better shot for somebody else. Same with Jaylen Brown. And that's how you get all your guys involved. So That's just my thoughts. Funny how Knicks fans and media always give Bridges and Hart a pass for poor performances that cost the game. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you go on Twitter, there's more than enough people that crucify them. Um, Matter of fact, there's some people that, one bad game and they already have, 10 different trades that can happen. So I don't think there should ever be a pass for any player. Um, Phil, you are spitting right now. No one else wants to say the obvious. Tibbs is stiffing us, and his ceiling has been reached. He has no creativity and can't will us to victories. Appreciate it, Wash ENT. I agree, man. Like I said, Tibbs has done a good job. He's gotten us here. He's our Mark Jackson, in my opinion. And now we need our Steve Kerr. I think that we need to figure it out. We need to think about now and about later. And that's just my thoughts. Rotation is 8-man, maybe ninth. We'll play 8 minutes. How is PJ getting into it? Starters plus McBride, Shamit, and Mitch getting lion's share. And ninth will be different as needed. No, Nick Yak, PJ's not going to get any minutes come playoff time, in my opinion. I'm saying games like last night, games that were back-to-backs that we could have used any reinforcements while we have injuries is what I'm talking about. This is Nick's real honest talk. Appreciate you, Wolverine. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Let's see. Kolick is the 5th string. PG Tibbs is seniority oriented. Unfortunately, I can't wait until the summer with Precious, Cam, Sham, and Wright possibly walk to open up the room to play the rooks. Here's the thing. All those guys can walk. If Thibodeau comes back in the door, none of those kids are getting minutes. That's just the bottom line. That's a matter of fact. Let's just be real about it. No matter who leaves or who comes, if Tom Thibodeau stays in his position, those rooks ain't seeing any minutes. If you guys can, there's oh dang, I don't have it here. Everything we do here is, for fun because we love it. But if you guys can, and you like the content, if you guys would drop a super chat, typically we asked to buy a coffee, but I don't have the buy the coffee app on here right now because we had some technical issues. But any super chats are appreciated. Help feed the fam, help allow us to be able to have these late nights. So we appreciate you guys so much if you're able to do that. If not, no problem. We appreciate you guys anyway. Let's see. Back-to-back 50-game seasons since the 90s. Tibbs isn't getting fired. I don't think he's going to get fired. Here's the thing. I think if we fall flat in the playoffs, Tibbs is definitely not getting fired. It's too much of a family mafioso style New York Knicks organization. Tibbs will never get fired. We could lose in a sweep in the first round of the playoffs. The Knicks won't fire him because it tarnishes his name. And they're all family. They're super close. That's not going to happen. I think what would happen is he would get promoted to the front office and work in-house, and someone else would then take his job. There's no world where Tom Thibodeau gets fired. See, playoff starters should be Brunson, Bridges, OG, Cat, and Mitch. Bench should be Payne, McBride, Shamit, Hart, and Precious. Situational, Dellin Wright, PJ Tucker, and Porty. But won't happen. Yeah. Honestly, man, I don't even know how I feel about that. Because I personally think that it's going to have to be based off of who we play. I think if you play teams like the Bucks and you play teams like the Celtics or Cleveland, I think Huck Porty needs to be in that bench unit even before Precious or Shamit. I think either Payne or Shamit would have to be situational, in my opinion. But we'll see. I don't really know, but I don't think we can have not have an actual backup big and play those teams. Because if a guy like Porzingis or a guy like Mobley come in and play some minutes with that second unit and we don't have anybody, we're toast. We're done. And Dottier should be getting minutes. I agree. It's not going to happen, but just because we want it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. PJ is for the locker room only. He will only get time if we are up or down 15. Listen, I understand that. I'm not saying that I'm rooting for PJ Tucker minutes. I honestly do not give a rat's bottom about PJ Tucker. Never really have. However, if back-to-back is our issue and we're using that as an excuse, do not use that as an excuse. There's people that could put in minutes. Whether or not you think he's a locker room guy or not, don't use back-to-backs as an excuse if you're not willing to use any reinforcements. That's just the bottom line for me. Don't use it as an excuse. This is his dream job. Yeah, Tibbs is going to the front office. I agree. I think that's where he's going to go. Shout out to my guy, Julian Bloom. Appreciate you, bro. I don't want to see Tibbs after summer if we don't exit the second round. I agree, man. I don't want to see Tibbs even if we make it to the ECF. I think that this is as far as we can go with him. That's not a hate on him. Josh Hart can help the bench unit a lot. I've been saying it for the last 4 months that I think Josh Hart would be best off the bench. I wanted Huck Porty to come in before Mitch came back to see what that could look like, and then to have, Josh Hart off the bench. I also think it'll help Josh. I think this up and down of how much we use him is a little confusing for him, and also starts to wear and tear on him. So I think off the bench, Josh is best. Struce was talking trash to the Knicks. Everybody talks trash to the Knicks, man. 10-minute playoff rotation. Thank you. I don't understand Tibbs is showing. Yep, I agree with you about Porty getting minutes. Yeah, I really think that, if it's not a young, fast team, I think we need to worry about having an actual big that can play a little bit of defense. Tibbs is analog. That's a great point. Tibbs is analog in a digital age. He is. So we got to just figure it out. I don't want to keep us too long. I appreciate everyone that's been here. Our next game that we have coming up. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got on the books here? We got the Hawks on Saturday. If you're in the chat, drop me your thoughts. You think we, walk away with a W? You think we're going to walk away with an L for that game? What are your guys, actual thoughts for that game coming up against the Hawks? I feel like it can go either way. I feel like if we played like we did this last game against Cleveland, we'll take an L. But, Trae Young loves to perform against the Knicks. That's what they do. And I think it's going to be a hard game for us. I think we're in Atlanta. I think, as much as I hate it, I keep hearing Julius Randle in my ear, and the statement, they wanted it more than us. I feel like that's kind of going to be the MO for that game against Atlanta on Saturday. So that's my thought on that game. Here's the thing. I have no freaking clue. I feel like those people need to be traded from the Knicks fan base. I do not want them at all. Saturday, perfect time to start Cat with Mitch. I agree. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you so much, Prezi. Always a blessing having you in here. What are your guys' thoughts on Saturday? Drop it in the chat. Do you think we take the W? Do you think we take an L? What are your thoughts? I want to hear it before I get ready to wrap up, because your guys' thoughts are crucial to me. I love hearing your guys' takes. I feel like having conversations with you all make me sharper, make me better at what I do. So we should have Brunson back and Mitch against. Record is 13-3. All right, well, let's see. I want the victory, but I just don't know if we're gonna get it. Anyone know what the game is that they expect Brunson to be back? Like how much more time? Anyone have a for sure timeline? I've been watching the games, but I've been off social media, kind of just spending time with the fam and had some, family health stuff and all that stuff. Not bad. I'm talking to my guy Nickinator. Love that guy. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Win or loss on Saturday. Whew. Speaking of first round, tonight, Giannis 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 20 assists. Guys, numbers like that scare me. Like absolutely scare me. To think about Giannis going 35, 17, and 20, 63% from the field. That's just bonkers. The glasses will come, my guy. The glasses will come. Nostalgic Knicks thinks we're going to get a W on Saturday, so I'm hoping you are right. What else, guys? What do you guys think? Win or loss on Saturday. And guys, I'm having fun with this right now. As things progress in my family and my boys get older and the career gets a little more time consuming, which it will this summer and next year. I want to continue doing this, so be praying for us, I want to keep rocking with y'all. Obviously right now it's a little hard to commit to, since there's no financial gain right now in it. So we're hoping that this channel can grow and we can get sponsors and we can get, more contributions and more people willing to contribute to what we're doing. So keep in your thoughts and stuff like that, because we definitely want to see if we're able to do this again next year. But we're going to take it step by step, and I'm going to give my all into this season, because I know I can do this at least. Loss because of pick and roll defense and 3-point defense. Yeah, those are two things that we're horrible at, and those are two things that, the Hawks are really good at. So I can see why you would think that, and would hope and pray that we get the victory. Who knows? I make my family laugh over dinner. Anytime there's a Knick game, I do thank the Lord for a W. And they laugh because they're like, come on, there's bigger fish to fry. And the Knicks, they're hit or miss on some of these games. But all right, guys, so I got some of y'all's takes about the wins and loss. Don't know about the rest of you. Wolverine, I don't know how he's not mentioned more in MVP voting. His talent is remarkable. His talent is absolutely incredible. And if he does leave Milwaukee this year in the summer, whoever gets him is a very, very, very lucky organization. It will grow, my guy. A lot of content out there is trash, and this is very niche and separates you from the rest. I want the Knicks Nightcap rare character sponsor and a bottle. Yo, I sure hope so, bro. We are getting some brands that are starting to send some bottles, and then eventually, hopefully it'll move into, some paid sponsorship ads if they see the numbers increase on the views. So if you guys can, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, if you could just share this episode, share it so that people can watch it on the replay gang, and continue to get those numbers up. So I appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to go spend some time with my wife. I was working all day till we got till I came and set up for the show. So I appreciate you guys so much for, rocking with me. I know it was a little bit different than me and the other guys. And so hopefully that you guys like this conversation, even though it was just myself. You guys are a blessing every single time we get to talk and chop it up. Your guys' takes really, sharpen me. Sometimes I'll get off here and I'll reread, some of the things you guys said. And I'm like, yeah, even though I don't agree with this person, they do have a valid point when it comes to this or that. So I thank you guys for that. Hit that Hulk smash like button. Like my guy Prezi said, hit that subscribe button and continue to support everybody in the KOT family. Ebony, Fritz, Jay Ellis, my guy Lee Escobedo, my brother from another mother, Queen Ebony, and even though he hasn't been here throughout the season, because like I said, with what might happen to me for next season, Ryan's been busy, but he is family, and we appreciate all of them. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys, and until maybe next week, I'm gonna try to come back next week, and try not to do it every other week for the playoffs. I'm gonna try to see if we can do this at least a short episode every week, and be able to at least rock with you guys for a little bit, since a lot is going to be going down. So thank you guys so much. As always, God bless you guys. We appreciate you, and we thank you for your support always. Have a great night. Enjoy yourselves and be safe out there. Let's go, Knicks.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling.
Pass the mic to a killer, he get the slaying.